In the last module, you got an overview of SAS and some of its capabilities. You also learned to navigate the SAS user interface, and you even wrote your own simple program by directly inputting the data using the data line statement, also called in-stream data, and storing your dataset in the work library. But remember, anything stored in the work library will automatically be deleted at the end of a session. I think the limitations of having to create a SAS dataset every time you start a new session are probably obvious to you. In this lesson, you'll learn how to create SAS libraries and use them to store datasets permanently so that you can come back later to modify or analyze them. Later, you will also learn how to take stored data in several different common types of files and put them into a form that SAS can use. Perhaps we should start by discussing what a SAS library is. It may be helpful for you to think of a SAS library as a drawer in a file cabinet. And to extend the analogy, you may want to think of a SAS dataset as a file folder in that drawer. More formally, you can define SAS libraries as a collection of one or more SAS files that are recognized by SAS and that are referenced and stored as a unit. Each individual SAS dataset is called a member of the library. SAS identifies each library by something called a libref, or a name you can use to refer to the library. By default, SAS automatically creates a few libraries at the beginning of each new session. Some examples are SAS Help, SAS User, and the Work Library. You can view SAS libraries in the Explorer window by double-clicking the Libraries icon. The library icon you see in the SAS Explorer window directly corresponds to a physical location on some hard drive, either on your computer or on a server somewhere. The directions to that physical location are called a path. You can think of the path as a set of directions SAS can use to locate the files you need. Let's say that I want to go to the store and buy a loaf of bread. When I say go to the store, this is really just a shorthand way of telling you a much more detailed set of directions. The SAS library is no different. It also represents a much more detailed set of directions. And there may be times when you want to view those directions specifically. In this demonstration, you'll learn how to find a file path in the Windows operating environment. Here you have created a folder on your desktop called SAS. Inside the SAS folder is another folder called ntrhd, which contains SAS datasets that you want to use during your internship at the North Texas Regional Health Department. So, you want to create a SAS library that corresponds to this folder. That way you can quickly and easily access datasets from within SAS. The first thing you need to do is figure out the path to this folder so that you can tell SAS where it's located. You do that by right-clicking on the folder and left-clicking on Properties. In the Data Properties window, the path is given next to the word Location. These are the turn-by-turn directions to the folder ntrhd that SAS needs. If you wanted to tell SAS how to find this folder, we would just add one more backslash and the name of the folder, which is located here. Now that we know how to find file paths, we can move on to a discussion of creating our own libraries in SAS. Building on the previous example, let's say you want to create your own SAS library called ntrhd that corresponds to the folder called ntrhd that we just looked at. You can create your own libraries by assigning a libref to a physical location where you want to store SAS files. And there are at least two ways we can accomplish this goal. The first method for creating a library that you'll learn is the libname statement. Here is the general form of the libname statement. Start your libname statement with the SAS keyword libname. This tells SAS that you want to create a new SAS library. Next, you enter a name of your choosing for the new SAS library, also called a libref. The name cannot be more than 8 characters in length, cannot start with a number, cannot start with a special character other than the underscore, and can only contain letters, numbers, and the underscore character. Finally, you'll use a path to point SAS to an actual physical file location where you want to store the files in this library. You'll write the path in either single or double quotes. In this demonstration, you'll learn two different methods to create a permanent SAS library. Here we are using the libname statement to create a permanent SAS library called firstLib. We start with the keyword libname, followed by the libref we choose, and finally the physical location we want to correspond with the library. Notice that the LibName statement is not inside of a data or proc step and requires no run statement. Question: what kind of statement do you think the LibName statement is? The LibName statement is a global statement. Now we will submit this LibName statement. The library doesn't seem to be listed in the Explorer window. Why isn't our library listed in the Explorer window? Well, let's check the log and see if we can figure it out. SAS is telling us that we have an error in the LibName statement and that 1 is not a valid SAS name. Remember the naming rules for a libref. It must be 8 characters or less and begin with a letter or an underscore. It cannot begin with a number. Let's fix this syntax error and submit the LibName statement again. Now the library ntrhd is visible in the Explorer window, and when we check the log, SAS tells us that the libref was successfully assigned. However, there is still no data in our library. Going back to our previous analogy, all we have done is create and name a drawer in our file cabinet. We still haven't added any files. Let's rerun the data step from our last lecture and create a SAS dataset called height_and_weight. Only this time, let's tell SAS to put that data in the permanent library ntrhd instead of the work library. Notice that I typed the ntrhd in the data statement. This data statement now refers to the SAS dataset height_and_weight by its 2-level dataset name. In fact, all datasets have a 2-level name, which is written with the libref, followed by a period, and then by the name of the dataset. However, when the libref and period are omitted, SAS assumes that you want to use the work libref. Remember that the contents of the work library are erased at the end of every SAS session. Now, let's run the data step again. As you can see, the library ntrhd now includes the SAS dataset height_and_weight. This is a good time to save our code, remembering to use save as instead of save. Now I'm going to close SAS and then open it again. Where's the ntrhd library? I thought it was permanent. Well, it is. The data is still there and you don't have to rerun the entire data step. However, you do need to rerun the LibName statement. And there it is, complete with our SAS dataset. But remember how I said that there's more than one way to create a library? Here's the way I prefer to do it. First, I want you to delete the ntrhd library and start over. Now I want you to right-click anywhere in the Library section of the Explorer window and select New. In the New Library menu, name the library ntrhd and set the path, either by typing it in or selecting a folder with the Browse button. Already a little easier, huh? But here's the best part. I want you to check the box that says Enable at Startup and hit OK. And there's our library without a data set. So let's run our data step one more time. Now, let's try closing and reopening SAS again. The library ntrhd containing the SAS dataset height_and_weight should automatically be visible to you under Libraries in the Explorer window. One final note about SAS libraries. It's important to understand that the libref is shorthand directions to your files and not a duplicate set of files. In other words, the files don't actually live inside of the SAS library. The libref just tells SAS where the files live. And if you delete the files in their physical location, you will no longer be able to access them in SAS. This data step creates a meaningless little SAS dataset with two variables, x1 and x2, and two observations. We can view the dataset in the Explorer window. We can also view the file in its physical location. If you delete the file in its physical location, you will no longer be able to use it in SAS. And the dataset is no longer available to us in SAS. Now you practice assigning a libref.